Eins, zwei, drei.
Right, cool. Okay, hi people, welcome back. This is the first episode of season 2 of Featuring Regular People. With this episode, we thought we'd kind of throw it back to how we did episode 1 of the first season, where me and Luke kind of introduced ourselves, talked a bit about how we met when we were traveling in Australia. That's also how we met our two guests today. We got Jack and we've got Lulu. So yeah, we're just kind of going back, talking a bit about how we met, and Lulu's just said she remembers lots of interesting stories, so I'm sure this is going to be horrendous for me and Luke and Jack.
Yeah, I'm very much not looking forward to this episode. Normally I would say that I've been really excited about this, but I'm about to become incredibly embarrassed. But yeah, welcome back and thanks for tuning in to the second series.
How are we all?
Yeah, good. I'm looking forward to finding out these stories as well, because I sure as hell can't remember them. I can definitely remember some things, and I can definitely remember how we all met. But yeah, on to you, Lulu.
I'm really good. I mean, actually, when I met you guys, I was super sober, so that's why I remember everything crystal clear. But no, it's just really, I can't wait to talk about how I met you guys and all of the other things that just made you all super memorable for me.
Fantastic. Well, yeah, this is definitely going to be good then. Well, I mean, I guess we'll get straight into it, because Jack, obviously we told the story about how me and Luke met, which was we spoke on the bus to Byron Bay. You were on that same bus, and we met you pretty much as soon as we stepped off the bus, right? You were with John?
Yeah.
And then we went and got some breakfast on the beach, checked into the same hostel, and well, that was that.
So pretty much, you boys never knew this, but me and Johnny paired up to get on that bus prior, because, I mean, I went to high school with him. And then I met him out in Australia because he was living out there anyway. So it was just me and him, and we were like, well, as fun as doing the East Coast is going to be, doing it just me and you can't be a thing, because who's going to have fair fun as just a gruesome twosome? So immediately we saw you two get off the bus, and I remember just hearing you chat shit the entire way on the bus journey. These guys are clearly going to be a lot of fun for this entire visit. So I remember chasing after you and pretty much knocking you on the shoulder. I think it was Luke, actually.
Can we be friends?
Pretty much. Friends!
Ooh, bus gang!
Bus friends!
Ooh. So we should just not do that for the next 45 minutes, really, shouldn't we?
It's really creepy, friends.
Yeah, I thought you had established that 5 years ago, Lulu, to be honest.
Fair enough.
So, yeah.
But yeah, so you basically accosted us for your entertainment.
Yeah, 100%. To which you never knew, and now you do. But I feel like it was a good choice for sure, because we had a hell of a time.
Yeah, mate, we had some fucking good fun. And then, well, yeah, that was it. We had some food, checked in the hostel, and then I remember trying to get into it's called a bottle shop in Australia, but like the off license, basically, where they sell the booze. We were just banging on the door at like 9 o'clock in the morning, and the Aussie guy who was setting up for the day was like, what the fuck do these cunts want, basically? And then,
I mean, I'm pretty sure it was illegal, wasn't it, to sell alcohol at that time of the morning?
Well, yeah, he just let us in because we wouldn't fuck off, basically. we were like, come on, mate, let us in. And then, yeah, well, the rest is history. And I think it was a couple of days into the hostel, we met Lulu, and I'm going to let her tell it because she's clearly itching to embarrass the three of us. What is your memory of meeting us, Lulu?
Oh, God. Well, first of all, so you know how I was saying to our chat beforehand that I wanted to also share like a secret, like as to why you guys are so memorable.
Yeah.
Well, actually, that day, the day that I met you guys, no, it's nothing bad. It was actually my very first time staying in a hostel, like ever in my life. Like I've never stayed in a hostel.
I'm so sorry that we were the first people you met.
We were the best people you ever met.
Oh my God. And then, yeah, it turned out, obviously, after a little while, no, I'm kidding. No, it turned out to be like incredible bunch, and that's why again, like you guys are super memorable because it wasn't. Not only was it the first hostel that I've been to, but you guys were like the first bunch that I met, and 5 years later we're still connected. So it's amazing. But let me rewind. So how I met you guys. So
when I was 4.
No, I'm kidding. So actually I met I met you guys through Leia, but actually Leia was in the same. So Leia's my best friend that I met through on that day. She was in the same room as Ask, and Ask was hanging out with you guys, I think.
Yeah, that was the big Norwegian guy we knew for context. Yeah. Huge beard.
Yeah.
With the name Ask.
Yeah, his name's Ask.
I was in her room as well, actually.
Yeah, because Jack was in there as well. Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah. So that's how I met you guys. So anyway, I met her in the toilet, and then she was like, "Oh, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Oh, I'm doing nothing." She's like, "Come for a drink with me, my roommates, and I think his friends in the courtyard." And I said, "Okay, I'll just go down to the bottle because I don't have any drinks." So I went down, got myself like a carton of cider. So it was like pear cider.
Very classy.
Yeah. And then I met Leia and in the courtyard, and then that's when she introduced me to Ask, and then I saw just like a bunch of super rowdy guys just like hover around us, and it happened to be you guys. And then we just sort of started like chatting. I don't know how many there were, but I think there was like 8 or 10 of you, but there was a lot. And you guys are like, "Oh, hey. And it's like, oh.
Are we fucking Santa?
And then Khan was actually one of the closer ones to me. And he introduced himself first, and he said, "Oh, hey, nice to meet you. I'm Khan." And I said, "Oh, nice to meet you, Tom." And he was like, "What?" And I was like, "Nice to meet you, Tom." And he's like, "What the actual fuck?" And then after that, I knew that I would fall in love with you all. But then after you all introduce yourself individually, Luke, you actually came up with a super random game, and you were like, "Okay, now you need to recite every single one of our names, and if you got it wrong, we get one of your cans." And I was like,
God, I never knew I was so creative.
Mate, you're so forward straight away with his trying to get alcohol from people. You know how he does.
Pretty much. Super impromptu, amazing. I was super pressured because I'm super bad at games. I mean, Khan, Tom, how do you calculate that? But anyway, so I, of course, started with Khan, and I was like, "Khan, I remember I'm traumatized from his reaction." And then I somehow remembered like everyone else's name. It took a little while. Luke, I said Jack. But then when we got to Ashley, so is it Ashley?
Oh, yeah. Shit, yeah, Ashley. Luke, he was your friend.
You guys are like...
Yes, that makes sense. I remember Ashley. Do you not remember him? Oh, fuck. I met you...
I think I do.
Yeah, because you met him at a different hostel, and then he came over to... I totally forgot.
I have a feeling his surname is Langworthy.
Yeah. So what's funny about this is Lulu's clearly going to remember way more people than we do.
Yes.
But yeah, Ash being one of those people. And then there was like Adam and Johan and... Oh, if you go to the Australia Day pictures, everyone's in those pictures. But yeah, obviously, these are the main memorable.
No, that's a lie because we weren't together on Australia Day.
No,
me and Jack were in the Gold Coast, weren't we, or Sunshine?
Yeah. Because Australia Day was towards the end of my time in Byron. So, but all kind of the same people were around. But you and Jack had gone up to Surfers with John at this stage.
Surfers, that was it.
We finished on TV.
Oh yeah, shit! You were on telly. I remember that.
Yeah,
telling me about it anyway.
Yeah, I mean we were so hanging It was like, and for some weird reason, it was like 25 degrees and I was wearing a shirt and jeans. I think I'd slept in it. And what did they ask us, Jack? It was something to do with like bikini service on the beach, like a waitressing thing in bikinis.
It was, it was that. And it was something to do with along those lines. And I remember they asked me first for my opinion on it. And you get those people that like reply to a really important question and they just give the most moronic answer like ever. And I literally just spoke the biggest load of shit and I was like, oh my God, this is live on TV.
Do you remember what you said?
And no, not at all.
Oh, okay.
But you remember it wasn't good. That's crucial.
He's probably erased it from his memory.
I think what made it worse was that after I had done that, Luke comes out with this astounding answer that's just so relevant and on point, and it just made me look like I wasn't worth living. Like
that's what I'm here to do, make you all seem like knobs.
What Luke would do. Mate, do you know how many times we're having a conversation with Luke and I'm trying to like formulate just a sentence and he'll then come out with something, we're on talking about the same subject and he'll just produce something ridiculously articulate and I'm like, yeah, all right, mate. Fuck off. That was when we did that.
Thanks for ribbing me a little bit, guys. I appreciate that.
Yeah, it's all right. We'll big you up now because you're going to come in for some heat later, surely.
Oh, but yeah, absolutely.
Before we get too far away from it, I do want to tell this story because it's one of my favourite memories of Byron. Because it was the first night we checked in, and do you remember? So you ended up in Leah's room, and you were I can't remember. You were just in that room all the time, Lulu, but I can't remember what room you were actually in.
I was in the same room. No, later on, I happened to be in the same room as us.
Right, okay.
Or something, I don't know.
But I ended up in the same room as John, who Jack was.
Yes.
Do you know where I'm going with this?
Yes, I was hoping.
Oh, I remember where you're going with this as well.
So we went out the first night, we stayed there, got like battered, like silly pissed. And I don't even remember coming back to the room. But I was in the bed nearest the door, like over here. It's like 10 bunks, so like 5 double beds in there. 5 bunk beds even, and I was nearest the door on the bottom, and John was over in the corner by where the balcony is. I'm so sorry, John, if he ever watches this, or anyone he knows watches this. But I wake up in the night, and there's like, when you can spot security straight away because there's high vis on. So I wake up like, it must be like 6 in the morning, like literally like wanting to die, like just about peel my eyes open. And I can see 2 like people with high vises on in the room, and I'm like, oh fuck, this is bad. Like, fucking what have I done? Always thinking I'd done something horrendous. And I just see like John, like just kind of like, when you've done something terrible and you're kind of just like hunched over. And I'm like, I tap one of the guys on the back and I can't really hear what they're saying. And he turns around and I go, what's going on, mate? What's going on? He goes, is he your mate? And I'm like, well, yeah, we came here together today. Like there's a few of us. He goes, he's fucking shit on the balcony, mate. And my immediate thought was, yes. I cannot wait for the morning. And sure enough, that was, I think they made him clean it up or whatever. And there was a load of like, literally like young 18-year-old girls clearly on like their first time travel, bless them, like their first
No,
time.
it was, what do you call it, Lulu? When you, schoolies, that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was schoolies because there was just bare kids everywhere.
No, not kids.
Well, no, but yeah, like
18-year-old, like very immature young girls, and this fucking 6'5" geezer has shit on the balcony. Must have been an elephant of a shit. But yeah, I remember walking into the courtyard the next day. Everyone was drinking, playing beer pong already, whatever. And I'm like, I can't see John because bless him, he must have been mortified. But I just come out and I was like, fucking grabbed everyone who met me and John the night before. I was like, yes, fucking this is what happened last night. And it kind of became the story of the hostel.
Oh, for sure. I've got a few deets to add to it, actually.
Oh, Jack,
please do.
John's obviously given me the lowdown. But I mean, the reason it happened is because prior to it, before he got in his bed, he, obviously being like 6'5", he smacked his head on like a beam in the hostel because he, like on the doors, because he literally is just too tall. So he practically, I mean, he was pretty much out of it anyway from drinking so much. He smacked his head, so he's like full on concussed. So he's done that shit. And after they made him clean him out, as punishment, they made him take it downstairs, take it out of the hostel, but he had to do it in his boxers.
Oh, that just got so much better. Wait, so he's almost given himself a concussion, and then they've made him carry his own shit in his boxers and take it outside.
Well, mate, the thing is, you got to think, like, obviously, Lulu, you're from Australia, innit? So, like, I guess you kind of have a different opinion on it, or like view of it even. But like, for Australians, like, Australians find English people pretty fucking annoying. So, like, this Australian security guard is going to have less than no sympathy for this British lad who's come over and just shit on the floor. Like.
Oh.
But it really made my night and week. And, yeah, I've told so many people about that since. But I just wanted to get it out there quickly before it went out my head. Because over the years, like, that story's just come in. You know when you remember something? Like, Lulu, obviously, you said you remember the trip really well. But, like, it's like... So you remember things and then you'll forget it for like a year, and then sometimes I'll be talking to someone about funny drinking stories and I'll be like, oh my God.
Yeah.
That was a good moment.
Wow. And can I ask what happened to John after?
Went back to bed.
Had a nice poo on the balcony, fell back to sleep.
Yeah. I do feel sorry for the girls who were in that room with us, because I woke up one morning after a night of drinking, like, woke up, opened my eyes, looked down, and I was like, nobody else was in the room. Like, it was like middle of the day, everyone else had already got up and done their thing, and I was just naked on top of the duvet. Well, it's not a duvet, it's like a sheet, but I was just naked on top of it, like, wow, sick. Everybody else has got on with their morning, and I'm there like...
And they've just left you there naked in
bed.
Yeah,
nobody's even had the decency to wake me up and be like, excuse me, mate.
You want to put some fucking clothes on? Maybe you could take it as a compliment and they all just severely enjoyed the view of your travel physique, which was very hench, as you know.
Mate, I weighed about 30 kilos dripping wet at that point. There was nothing of me.
Yeah, and then when you had a shit, the 30 kilos were gone.
Yeah, exactly. But no, yeah, it's funny, man, that was like all our first experience of meeting each other, because it's weird as well, mate, because that was 5 years ago now. So like, I was genuinely a child at that point. So like, it's like the difference in all of us is quite funny, but yeah, it was pretty mad. And Lulu, you just never stopped traveling. That was your first hostel and you've been traveling ever since.
Correct.
You've been to, how many different countries have you been to now?
Oh God, I always get confused, but it's over 45.
Oh my God. And like, what? So like, why did you decide to have, like, you've never stayed in a hostel before. How old were you? Like 25?
At that time, I just turned 27, I think.
Wow. So you've never stayed in a hostel before. And when you went on that trip to Byron, did you have an idea in your head then that you were just going to go around the world?
No, not at all. So actually what happened was the year before, like December 2015, I made a promise to myself, because I was like super burnt out, like with work and with life. I was just like, you know what? I need to enjoy Australia because everyone is coming here for a reason. So then I said, okay, I always get to know other countries. So I made a promise that every month I would go somewhere special that I've never done before or I've never been to before. So that's why I was disappearing a lot when you ended up living with me. But yeah, so I would just like, that's what I feel, I'll do it. So this was my commitment. And I said, okay, hostels are amazing because it's like, you get to meet people, unlike hotels where people are more reserved and more like, don't want to talk to other people. So yeah, it all started from there. But I just, I had no idea what to actually expect. Like literally, I was recording like everything. My first time walking in the room, I was like, wow, look at everyone's mess. There was like some underwear and some socks like everywhere. Someone's everything.
A shit on the balcony.
Yeah, naked boy.
Wow. No, but yeah. So And that's what happened.
And
where are you now?
I'm in Berlin. So I live in Berlin.
How come you're in Berlin? I know that I'm trying to pry you to say I'm a spy, but what is your actual job now?
I'm an assassin. No, I'm kidding. No, what's it called? Well, first of all, the reason why I'm in Berlin was purely because of German bureaucracy.
Definitely a spy.
Someone needs to tell me what bureaucracy is.
So, because actually, when my UK visa ended, which was, you know, my security blanket, whenever I would go and travel somewhere, when my visa ended, and then I was traveling around for, I don't know, 6 months, didn't know where to go. I was deciding whether to go. Was it time to go back home to Australia or not? And then I was like, no, it's not. I need to still stay in Europe. And Germany, I could still apply for my working holiday visa because I was technically still 30, turning 31. I think in a month and a half, yeah. And so I was like, okay, got to get to Germany and apply. And then little did I know, I had to actually be living. So you have this thing called Anmeldung. It means you registered where you're living.
Wait, what was the word again?
Anmeldung. So you had to be, in order for you to get a working holiday visa, you had to have your registration, apartment registration in Berlin. And what makes it worse is that you could not use like a hotel or a hostel or someone or like a friend's home. It's illegal to do that. You need like a form signed by a landlord. So I had no choice but to rent out like an apartment. I rented out a room, a share room, but minimum 3 months. That was the most minimum that I could get. And then I thought, okay, then I'm meant to be in Berlin. If I find a job, while I'm in Berlin, I'll give myself 1 month, and if I find a job, then I'll stay. If I don't, then I'll go somewhere else. And I ended up finding a job, which now I do. Back to your other question, Luke. I'm HR. I'm in HR. Still the same as what I was doing in Brisbane.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, that's it. Like, so obviously when I came to stay with you in Brisbane, I've mentioned this in an earlier episode before. I ran myself into the ground traveling, didn't look after myself well at all. Needed to be taken in. Lulu said I could move in for a week. Sure enough, month and a half later, I'm still there. And then it kind of became like a haven for other travellers as well, because Ask lived there for a while. And then when I left, a German guy called Lucas lived there for a bit as well. Was it Lucas or was it Nico? Nico, wasn't it?
Both of them, actually.
There you go. Jesus Christ. So you've had a crazy time. But yeah, like obviously working in HR, you've kind of been able to take that all over the world, which is cool. And I've met you in Thailand since, and then you've actually been over to England as well, which is crazy. But Jack, what was it for you? Because we must have discussed this like at some point while we were traveling, like probably drunk though. Why was Australia your first time going traveling as well?
Yeah. So I finished uni, so I had literally been in education my entire life, and I mean, it was either the choice of going into a career like everyone did, because to be honest, the time that we went traveling, which now that was
2015.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Now we all feel dead old.
To be honest, like, I'm not saying, we were the forefront of everything, but there wasn't as many people doing it then in massive regards as there is now.
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, well, either get on this boat or don't. And
it was a now or never kind of thing.
Yeah, I'm definitely glad I did. I remember the first hostel I got to, went upstairs, sat on my bed, and I was just like, shit, either you go downstairs, dive in and get involved in this, or you've literally got to pack your bags and go back home, because otherwise it ain't going to work, mate. Because prior to going travelling, I was not that confident in myself, like as a confident person. Completely changed me. But yeah, so that was kind of why I went, then
just to like force yourself to have to be more outgoing, basically.
Definitely.
It's a fucking hell of a way to do it, mate.
Yeah. But then I want to go back to Australia because my visit got cut short. But I don't actually know how to do that now, because once you've had your visa for working, I don't think you can get a second one, can you?
No, that's it. You have to do farm work, which is something me and Luke briefly discussed last time. Like, you have to do your 88 days of farm work, and then you get a second year working holiday. And then your idea in your second year is that you get sponsored working somewhere, you stay for 2 years, and then if that goes well, you can start applying for citizenship and things. But I'm the same, mate. I never did my farm work, so I can't do another working holiday in Australia. But like, it sucks because like, I'd love to go back, like with my girlfriend now, and I'd love to go and I'd literally love to take her to all the places that we've talked about and be like, yeah, so this happened here. I mean, if I told her some of the things that happened and where they happened, she probably wouldn't want to be with me anymore. But you know how it is. But yeah, mate, that's the thing. Like, you're right. At the time, it wasn't as popular as it is now, and it seems like since I've been back, and I don't know if you boys feel the same, like, everyone and their dog is going to Australia and like just doing the East Coast. That East Coast seems, and obviously Lulu, you said like you felt you had to enjoy it because everyone was coming over there and like doing it, and it was right on your doorstep kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
But so traveling around Australia, how does that, obviously it's your homeland technically, I guess. How does that compare to some of the places that you've been outside of Australia?
Well, I get asked this question a lot because it's like, well, half of the time when people are like, oh, where are you from? And I'm like, I'm from Australia. And they're like, why did you leave your country? It's so beautiful. Like, well, there's more to the world than that segregated island. No, I really, I actually really can't compare it. Like, I don't know. It's just, the thing that I love about traveling is the fact that I get to know not just people, but the culture, the tradition, the history, the food. Oh my God, like the food, and it's like each places are their own unique experiences. So it's really difficult for me whenever someone say, oh, do you like it better than Australia? Because actually Australia is super special in its own way. And New Zealand is also super beautiful, and everywhere is beautiful. But one thing I can say though, when I was traveling like home, like when I was backpacking Australia, it was so funny because all of the backpackers, the European backpackers, were like, wait, you're Australian? You're the first Australian I met. And I was like, what? Like that I'm actually talking to and having a conversation and maybe become friends. And I was like, oh, and then it opened my eyes that like, yeah, like some of these guys that are traveling in those like super backpacker sort of world, they never get to meet like proper locals because no locals work in those hostels or maybe in the areas that they're in. So I was like, oh, so there's like still a cultural gap. Like, so it was amazing to see this from a different lens. And that was really cool. But now when I started traveling Europe or in Africa or in Middle East, like when I would meet people wherever they're from and they've been to Australia, it's like I can now then say, oh yeah, I know which place you're talking about. Whereas before I would be like, hey.
Is that in Australia or
what's 1770? I don't understand. No, so yeah, it was really cool. It was like another way for me to again be able to connect and relate to people and share experiences, which was amazing. Yeah.
I think the way that you just described that all, I mean, and I'll make this kind of comparison, it was very eloquent. So you're like, we go to other countries and experience the traditions and the history, whereas me, Jack and Khan are sat here thinking the exact same thing, going, yeah, so we go to other countries and we get pissed and shit on balconies. And that's pretty much it, like the food.
Well, no, we associate ourselves with people who shit on balconies, but no, I get what you mean, like, because there are two ways you can travel, like, and a lot of people do choose to, like, you could say, like, going to the east coast of Australia, like that is the most basic way to go and see Australia, really. Like, you do see some amazing things like Fraser Island and the Whitsundays, like sites that you will not see in fucking England, obviously, but like the way you can go and not really immerse yourself in the culture. Like, thinking about it now, I would have really liked to go to that outback. And the thing is, yeah, quite a lot of people have this view of Australia where they just picture the outback purely because of like stereotypes and shit, but like Australia is
the In-Betweeners movie.
Huh?
And the In-Betweeners movie.
Yeah, the In-Betweeners movie. Yeah, I liked watching that with some of my mates. To be like, yeah, been there, done that. Didn't piss in my mate's mouth in the outback though. But yeah, like you can go traveling. You make a good point, Lulu, and really not immerse yourself in the culture. So I think it's good to do that. But when you're staying in hostels and stuff, generally you end up meeting people who aren't from that country because they're not going to go and do that. Like, they're going to avoid that kind of place like the plague. Like, in Australia, it was mostly other Europeans you'd meet, like mainly like Dutch, German, people like that. And what, I don't know if you lot found this, but like, I just felt really stupid because you meet other Europeans and they speak their language fluently, whether it be German, Dutch, Italian, whatever. They speak English perfectly, and they also speak another language pretty much perfectly, and two others kind of competently. Like, they just, I don't know what it is about like other countries in Europe. They just teach their citizens to speak languages from all over the world, and you immediately, as an English person, just feel like, fuck, I'm an idiot.
Pretty much just summed Lulu up with all of her language capabilities, I swear.
Yeah.
But also,
I mean, at MI5, they get taught every single language that might be needed. So, you know, she does have one up on us.
No. What were you saying, Jack?
I was going to say, on the subject of you, Lulu, I remember when, I don't know about you two boys, when I first met you, I did not think you were Australian. I thought you were from America.
What, accent?
Yeah.
I can't remember.
He's from America. Jack's like, oh shit, what have I done?
No, do you know what? Because actually, like, especially now, my accent changes all the time because I was born in.
Oh wait, Lulu, wait, no, let me see if I remember all the places you're from.
Oh.
Because you're from like 4 different places, right?
No.
Yeah, you are. You're like.
I mean, technically, isn't that impossible?
No. Because I remember, aren't you like part Australian, part Filipino, and part Spanish? That's only 3.
Technically, I'm only Australian by nationality, like by citizenship.
But you have family in the Philippines.
Yep. So I was born in the Philippines, and in the Philippines, like, we get taught American English. So that's where sometimes my twang comes. But then I left Philippines when I was like, I think, was it 11? I don't even remember, 10 or 11. But my mix, so I'm Filipino, Spanish, and Japanese from my grandfather's side, but don't really know how much. They say hapon na hilaw, and I don't even know what that means. It means like, you know, our grandfather was Japanese, but we really don't know how much. Something, I don't know.
I don't really know what it means. It means our grandfather was Japanese, but yeah, I don't really know.
But yeah, so that's where my twang would be. And when I'm traveling, I tend to not actually like speak like fellow Aussie, sorry, but I tend to not want to speak like Australian English because once you get on the flow and then I start to talk like Australian English, then no one would understand me, like, ever.
Yeah, the Australian slang, because I was there for 8 months in total, and I came back with like, it's not so much the accent that you pick up, it's the phrases.
Yeah.
And like just the shit you come out with. So like, one of my mates is in Australia at the moment, and I was speaking to him the other day on his birthday. We were saying like, we're gonna have some drinks when he gets back or something, and he put, yeah, fucking oath, which is what they say.
That's got to be the worst one.
Yeah, mate, they say fucking oath, which is like fuck, like fucking right, basically. And then like the other one is saying A at the end of everything. So
I still say A.
Yeah, last night was fucking good, eh? Like shit like that, mate. And yeah, I'm gutted I kind of lost it, but I mean, it's probably annoying to everyone I knew in England that I was coming back with that kind of slang in my vocabulary.
Jack, how long were you out there for? in total?
Oz, I mean, I had to leave. I was just doing my farming stuff. I'd done about 20 days, and that's when my dad's illness progressively was getting worse, so I had to fly home prematurely. So that was probably 8 months or so. So yeah, it got cut a bit short, but that's.
But weren't you in Asia before?
No, no. So after that all happened, and after he passed, I then went on to Asia about 6 months or so later.
Okay.
I was in Asia for just around a year. On the subject of which, with Lulu's Japanese background, if you haven't been to Japan, go to Japan. It's mental.
Amazing.
Yeah. So yeah, and then next on the list, I mean, I'm not meant to be here now, but because of COVID, it kind of ruined everything. I'm meant to be in Canada now. I'm meant to be living there.
Mate, I want to go to Canada so much.
Oh, mate, yeah.
We've kind of understated it, but obviously met you guys traveling, spent a bit more time with Lulu than you, Jack. Like, I think in total, Jack, I only was with you for like 7 days or so, but we've maybe longer, but I don't remember it being that long, but like we've always kind of kept in contact. And well, I'll preface this. Jack does all the graphics for this podcast, by the way. So our logo,
Big up, Jack.
Yeah, our logo and everything is all done by Jack. And I just remember like following you on social media after I got back from traveling, or after when I first like found out you're on there and stuff. And mate, I just was baffled by how talented you were. Like, because the person I met, I just thought you were this normal geezer, and then it turns out you're this like mental fucking artist. Yeah, it was crazy, mate. But yeah, we'll plug that in the bio at the bottom at the end. But yeah, man. Like, so what are you doing with yourself now?
Oh, you had to put that on the subject.
Because
I'm wondering what you were going to Canada for. Was that to travel or to work?
Well, it would have been a 2-year working visa, so I would have been working out there for sure.
Ski season.
Well, that was the initial plan. Back in the day, like, well, that was a long time ago. Even prior Christmas of that before COVID breaking out. So before that had even happened, if that makes sense.
So like last Christmas, not last Christmas 2019.
Yeah,
just say pre-COVID.
Yeah, no, it's important by days.
True.
It's even before that. It's like summer of 2019. Anyway, it was initially that. Then I met some people and I was like, okay, this kind of changes things. And then...
What, did you get involved with a cult? What does that mean?
That's exactly it. No, but aside from...
Him and his fellow butt plug enthusiasts have decided to do an annual meeting in Canada.
But yeah, no, my time at my current position in England has come to probably a close. So it's like...
You pulled the plug in it, did you?
No, I just want to do some work in a different country again. Like, I think it's probably the same for all of you. Like, I mean, Lulu travels everywhere already, like, which I'm super jealous of. But I think both of you would still love to go to other places and not stop traveling whilst working. Like, it's in our blood, I think. Like, once you get the first for it, you don't stop doing it.
Well, that's it, mate. Like, I've been itching to travel again ever since I came back, which is like 5 years ago now. And like I've been like away, like on holidays. I've been to Thailand, I've been like to Dam and stuff like that, but like I want to go somewhere, and this is something that like me and my girlfriend have discussed. I want to go somewhere for like a couple of years. Like I've kind of had my heart set on a 2-year working holiday in, like you say, mate, either Canada or New Zealand have been what I've thought, because there are 2 countries where, similar to Australia, you can quite easily just get a working holiday visa and just go out there for a couple of years. And
New Zealand.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
mate, New Zealand for sure. Just because it's so... Do you know what, yeah? what New Zealand has over Australia, because it's so picturesque, it's so beautiful, but there aren't really any animals there that want to hurt you.
Yeah.
Whereas Australia has all the animals that want to hurt you.
Yes, but I hate this statement because
me too.
You know, literally, like if you actually, or when you are in Oz,
yeah, okay,
you realise that all those animals that are said to be hurting you, like realistically, the places that you're actually living in, like for me, the majority of my time I spent in Sydney, none of them are in Sydney. You literally, I saw one huntsman spider the entire time I was there, and they're not even dangerous. That was the only thing I ever saw whilst I was there.
Okay, I had a couple of dodgy animal experiences actually. So, but yeah, it is. You are right. In this country, people are like, "Fuck that! I'm never going to Australia," because you see pictures of shit, and you're like, "I just never saw anything that bad." So yeah, I get what you mean. At the same time,
sorry, can I just say that it depends on which state you actually live in, because in Queensland, it's definitely true.
Yeah, well, this is what I was just about to say. So I did also go on a kayaking trip in Noosa and got back and was made aware that there were bull sharks in the river that we were all fucking jumping and swimming in. After we were in there, by the way. We went on this kayak trip and, like, it was at the bush camp in Noosa that they sell you as part of like your bus ticket. They're like, "Oh yeah, we'll give you this free trip on a camp."
Sorry.
Yeah, you can. And then you go and get all these kayaks out, and then none of the people running the camp are going with you. They're like, "Yeah, go on, have a good day, like later." And we got back, and they're like, "Oh, we're all soaking wet." They're like, "Have you guys been swimming in the river?" Like, "Yeah, we found a rope swing. We were like swimming about in it." And they were like, "Yeah, this is fucking very bull shark infested river. Like, you don't want to go in here." Saw like a fuck off python being pulled out of the kitchen area where all the food was being kept. To be fair, it was all pretty much at that camp where I saw bad shit, to be honest with you, specific to that one trip.
I mean, I think the first part, I mean, I was living in Melbourne for the first kind of stint of my working holiday visa. And I went with some friends, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we'll drive out to this like nice countryside bit and smoke a bit of weed or whatever." And they drove me to a place called Mount Disappointment. And she was like, "Oh, there's going to be so many kangaroos out here." Like, I was like, "I haven't seen one yet, so I'm really excited to see it." And I shit you not, like Mount Disappointment, you can Google it, it is a real thing. And the first thing I saw when I got there was a half-eaten kangaroo carcass, just on the side of the road. And I thought, fuck. And that was kind of the extent of the animal thing. I mean, it was severely disappointing. But yeah, I don't think the animal thing was really that bad. I mean, there was one Khan, if you remember, in Cairns, that spider.
On Benny's house.
On Benny's house. Yeah.
Oh, mate, it was
and then
like
we passed out outside.
Yeah, it was like something like a horror film. So it was so when we were in Cairns, obviously you know the Daintree rainforest. Lulu obviously does, but Jack, you know it as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, I'm pretty sure it's one of the 7 wonders of the world. It's a massive rainforest, right? Like Cairns is basically at the bottom of it. Cairns is like a city, and we go to stay at our mate's house, and his house is basically in a clearing in this rainforest, and it's a beautiful view. Like you can see all of Cairns over it. But he goes, "Oh yeah, just be careful on your way in." And like you look above that, so he's got like his garage and the front door here, and on the roof by the garage and the front door is a spider. I shit you not, its body's about this big, its legs come out to about here. The main body of it was black, but there was also blue, yellow, red, just all these dodgy colours all over it. And basically what I know about like animals is the more bright shiny colours it's got on it, the more fucking poisonous it's gonna be. And it just, it was fucking horrible. But then we got pissed and passed out outside, and look, we're still alive. So
I mean, just to clarify for the people that are listening to this that will listen to this through audio only, obviously, Carl, when you say, "Oh, it's this big," that makes zero sense.
Okay, for the visually impaired, its body was about the size.
I can't say that.
Why not? Okay.
For the people who are listening through audio only.
For the people who are listening through audio only and the visually impaired, its body was about the size of like a grapefruit. No, bigger than a grapefruit, like 2 grapefruits. And its legs, imagine its legs are like sort of
a banana each.
A banana each, but not that thick. Is that all right?
Perfect. Yeah, I think you nailed it aside from the first part, but yeah, anyway.
We're included.
But yeah.
But Lulu, have you found that travelling around, when you tell people from Australia, do they always mention the animal thing and how there's loads of animals there that want to kill you?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, yeah, and I also say half and half, you know, a lot of this stuff that you find online is super exaggerated, but then at the same time, actually, I was just telling, I had this discussion the other day. The more I traveled like Europe, the more I realized, or anywhere actually outside of Australia, the more I realized I was actually equipped to face danger from these animals because they teach you since you're like in primary. Like, I remember instead of, I don't know, like maybe they would do something like in Europe, an excursion to, I have no idea, a gas chamber. I have no idea. But in Australia, they would take us to the bush, like the mangroves, and be like, right, so like you need to spot the blah, blah, blah. And then they'll just talk about all the different, again, like insects or reptilians, like that could harm us and everything. So amphibians, sorry. But yeah, I didn't realize that until I actually, because it's second nature to me, if that makes sense. So actually, when I was traveling in Australia, and I actually went back to Byron Bay to spend my last New Year there before I left for Europe. And I took Nika with me, which is my best friend, one of my best friends. And I told her, hey, Nika, I don't want to stay in any hotels, Airbnb or hostel. I want to sleep on the beach. And she's like, okay, yeah. And I was like, yeah, so usually just bring your sleeping bag, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, it was nighttime. We were obviously still tipsy from drinking, and we only had like a phone as lights. And I was walking, and literally my tone was like this. Oh, wait, Nika, just watch out. There's a snake on the left. And then I just and then she was like, la, la, la. And she thought I was joking. And then she put her light. It was a black and green one. So nothing that's, it wasn't going to be poisonous. But anyway, she was like, what the fuck? And then she like ran to the beach. And she's like, why did you say that so casually? And I was like, oh, I see them all the time. Like,
well, yeah.
Why should I be surprised?
I remember seeing pictures of, actually, it's funny you say that, Jack, that you you hate that people think that about Australia, because I've seen all sorts of pictures of you just fucking picking up snakes and stuff when you're pissed.
We were outside a nightclub, and I don't know where it was in the bush somewhere, because we did do a fair bit out in the outback actually, when we left you guys. But I was literally with this guy, like big guy, and he was the doorman there. He just walks up to this bush because he can hear it rustling. He knows exactly what he's doing. Sticks one arm in, just grabs this like python out, and he's just holding it like calm as hell. Chucks it. Well, doesn't chuck it at me, but he gives it.
Just glasses it and chucks it out the door.
I love snakes, so like I didn't mind, so I was holding it. But then this absolute idiot, like you say, there are just some moronic, like Europeans and people from the UK, typical idiot guy from the UK, just has to try and act cool, and he kept just going like that at the snake's face.
Oh.
And literally,
what an idiot!
Like, viper speed, like you didn't even see the snake move. It just bit his hand so fast, and just blood just goes. It weren't poisonous, but I mean, it just literally, I was just like, mate, you are so stupid.
Yeah, you mug. What you did? Oh, mate, fuck that. Well, this is the thing, like, it's mad that I even went to Australia, because if there's one thing that scares the shit out of me, it's being killed by an animal. Like, there's actually nothing more like, I watched a lot of shark films when I was a kid, and I remember one of my mates wrote, they got me a card when I left for Australia, and he's like, don't become another shark attack statistic. And I had it I wouldn't go in the sea for like the first month I was there. It wasn't until I went to Byron that I went in the sea, and the only reason I did that is because, do you remember, like, we'd go and get pissed in, like, I can't remember what any of the names of the clubs were now. We'd go and get pissed in. Do you remember when we went to that paint party?
Yeah.
And we were all getting painted with glow paint. That was sick.
Was I there?
Yeah, you were there for this. That was the night that Adam borrowed Jack's shirt, slept with a girl, wiped his spunk on Jack's shirt, and then the next day tried to give it back to Jack. Funnily enough, Jack didn't want it anymore. But no, yeah, so I remember it was that night. We all went down to the beach, like 30, 40 people, however many, start a fire on the beach, and then everyone goes in the sea. And anyone who kind of knows anything about sharks know that they eat at like dawn, so like 5, 6 in the morning. And sure enough, there's just like all these people just in the sea, like neck deep in pitch black, like shark infested water. And like, I was lucky I was pissed, because the thought of, when I wake up the next day and the thought of that's what I was doing, like, actually scared the shit out of me. But I went to Australia convinced I was going to get eaten by a shark. So I only ever went in the sea when I was really, really pissed.
I remember that night because, one, I tried to catch crabs on the beach. Not in the literal sense, like that. You know what I mean.
No, actually.
And did a terrible job, and the crab caught me, and that made me bleed everywhere. And then, yeah, the evening came to a close with me getting really wasted, and actually I almost fell asleep on Lulu's stomach on the beach.
Yeah, I remember that now, because also Leia and me, we ended up falling asleep, and then whoever was like around us, because we were watching, we were laughing so much. Oh my God, it's this one of my favorite things that I was going to say. Yes, so we're all trying to catch crabs, which I have photos and videos, but the funniest part of that night was with Luke and Ash. And I don't know who the third person was with you, Luke. And I don't think you even remember because, okay. And so you went a little bit away. It was that same day that actually we saw each other again during the day, because we went to Nimbin. We went on that Nimbin tour.
Yes, yeah.
Okay, I was like, lol, he doesn't remember.
Yeah, no, I remember Nimbin. Yeah.
So you bought like so much. I think you bought like $150 worth of like mushrooms, I think, and maybe
Standard.
But you were like, yeah, I bought all these. Anyway, and that was the night. That night was like, yeah, this is when I'm gonna, try it out. So you and Ash and one other person decided to go a little bit further, closer to the shore, so that no cops or whatever can catch you. And then out of nowhere, we hear you scream because the fucking wave took your drugs, your phone, your wallet. But you were screaming for your drugs. You were like, my drugs! And Ash was like, I don't know, maybe sober enough to actually pick up like your phones and your wallet because you were running, chasing after your drug. And it was pitch black, by the way. This was around about like, I would say it was around about like 11:30, 12, like midnight. This was happening. So it was pitch black with the full moon. And you were chasing after your mushrooms that was eaten by the sea. The gods.
Wait, did this happen twice then?
No, that is the time.
That is because I have this story in my head and it was daytime.
No, it wasn't daytime at all.
Really not.
God, I must have done a lot of drugs prior to that.
Yeah, luckily you must have ate most of the mushrooms first.
Yeah, I mean, I just remember as well, I was thinking, I'll share some of these with Khan.
Yeah, because that's it. I rang you and you were like, you're not going to believe what's happened. And I fucking didn't believe what had happened. And then, yeah, obviously I had the story confirmed by everyone who saw it happen. And
more trustworthy people.
Yeah. But yeah, oh my God, that's fucking hilarious. I can't believe, yeah, that's so funny.
I mean, it was standard priority list, drugs.
More concerned about the mushrooms than his phone and his wallet.
Yeah, of course. There was probably more money involved in the drugs than there was in my wallet. So.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, that is a brutal one.
But it was, I don't know, like it was, maybe we can revisit Surfer's Paradise another day, Jack, because there were some great stories there as well. But for the purpose of this, obviously the other two weren't there, so it might be a bit odd. But yeah, I mean, so what do you guys, obviously now you're back, well, I say back home, but obviously Lulu, isn't.
Lulu makes the home wherever she is.
Well, yeah. Kind of what's your plans over the next 12 months, and what do you think you guys are, trying to get into and start planning for when we are allowed to go away again? I know, Jack, you said Canada, but
yeah, I mean, to be honest, for the past 12 months, my life has been literally on hold because I didn't think that this would last this long. And unfortunately, for my case, Canada has pretty much been one of the most sensible countries going, and they've completely put up all of their borders, and you can't get in unless you live there or prior, or you have student residency and stuff like that. So there is literally no way for me to get in. And yeah, I just didn't think it was going to last 12 months. So I pretty much just kind of put my life for the past year on hold, if that makes sense. I didn't progress with things that I would otherwise have done, because I figured, well, what's the point if in a month's time I'm going to fly to Canada? But unbeknown to me, 12 months later, I'm still here. And that's what I'm worried about now, because I'm still in that same situation. So, I mean, as you both know, and as Lulu knows, I currently have a job as a designer for a sex toy company. And I mean, now, to all those listening, that does not mean that I design the toys.
Hence the butt plug references earlier, just in case you didn't pick up on those, anybody.
Let's get a discount though.
Yeah, I appreciate the 75% off. I mean, I'd maybe consider it.
But no, it's such a common misconception. Does that mean you just design all the toys? No, we're the graphics team. We do the web stuff and the emails and all that fun stuff that you kind of see popping up. But yeah, so I mean, time there has been fun and good. But when I can leave, in terms of when I can get out of the country and move on with things, that'll be that. But as for now, I think that's just what it's going to be. It's what it's going to have to be for me, because I don't really want to do anything else.
So you kind of just bide in your time until you can go away.
Pretty much.
What about you, Lulu? What's on the horizon?
Well, first of all, Australia, as you probably all already know, is doing the same. It's super strict with the borders. Even Australian citizens are having a hard time. There's even a movement, #StrandedAussies. So it's actually been really difficult in a sense of, feeling really homesick and just missing my loved ones, because I haven't seen them for years. And it's difficult because it's before I had the freedom to be like, okay, well, I might go there in X months time, but now it's we really don't know when I can go back. But I'm hoping that within the next 12 months, I would be able to go back home, see, my loved ones again, stay there maybe for a couple of months. But definitely I see myself more in Europe. So I started a newish relationship, and we're trying to make the whole long distance relationship work. So he lives in France, so I'm in France, in Germany, when I can, of course, but safely. But to be honest, during COVID, it's super expensive, because I mean, not only for the fares, but the constant PCR test requirements, blah, blah, blah. So I know there's a lot of people, even the ones that follow me, are always asking, it's Lulu, how do you manage to somehow travel during COVID period? All I can say is that for sure, there's a heavy sacrifice on the finance. But two, actually, I mean, I was actually traveling when it was okay to travel. The borders were still open to certain countries. So last year I was like in Spain, in Italy, and Poland, but it was all okay. But this year I've been mainly in France, and luckily for me, one of the countries that I look after in my job is in France. So I can technically say, oh my God, my work shouldn't hear this, but you know, I can technically be like, well, we have an office in France, so I can work there, but it's really, yeah, it's really tough to be doing this. It's not as it seemed, like, you know, that 1 minute I'm in Germany, 1 minute I'm in France or whatever.
Yeah, people don't see the behind the scenes. Well, don't worry, Lulu, because I don't think anyone from your work's going to hear this. We don't have that big of an audience yet.
I mean, the 40,000 followers that we have, you know, I scoured for all of them today to check if you worked with any of them, and there was no MI5 people on there. So
more than that, guys, like, I'm just hoping that we can all get together at some point, because
oh my goodness,
it's been this is one of the first times we've all sat and, well, it is the first time we've all sat and spoke, right?
yes, all together. Anyway, it's a bunch for sure. We need a country to reunite once we can.
Well, it was meant to be Jack having a house party as soon as possible.
It still is that, really. It's just a case of, obviously, you guys can come over now and sit in my garden. Lulu can't get here, as far as I'm aware. I don't know if you can fly at me.
No,
not until June 21st.
Well, when you can do that, when does it get to the point where you're allowed people in your house again?
June 21st.
Right,
no, I think it's before that, isn't it?
Is it?
I thought it was like, because you can go into a pub on May 17th. So I think it's the same. And then that's when you can start to go back to like stadiums and stuff, excuse me. So I don't know. Surely if you can go into a pub, you can go to someone's house.
As you can see, we're very cleared up on the rules and we know exactly what's going on.
Yeah. And it's, well, I don't know. I suppose we could go and sit in Jack's garden, print out a cardboard cutout of Lulu, and then stick the FaceTime in, I don't know, the cardboard cutout space.
We could get the cardboard cutout and we could put the phone like here where the eyes are.
Yes.
And
then you could tune in.
You just put the camera really close so that it's just your eyes on the screen, then it would be the exact same.
That would be so creepy, but yeah, that sounds cute.
Well, yeah, I'm hoping that we can do something like that very soon. But it's been so nice chatting to you both again. Well, all of you, obviously, Luke, I speak to you quite regularly, so.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Yeah, no, absolutely. Like, it's been really nice having you both on, and it's been quite a nice way to kick off the second season, series season. I don't know which one to call it, to be honest. I don't know if there's a technical difference. But yeah, it's been nice to kind of have you on and kick off the second as we did the first. Just kind of reminiscing on fun, drunken, debaucherous, is that a word?
Horrendous.
Yeah, horrific. Yeah, but also just fucking wonderful times. So yeah, it's been great to have you both on.
But can I just say something though, guys? Like, it also has been such a pleasure. Like, I'm sure I'm speaking on behalf of Jack, but I don't know. You guys are very special, and from a special time, from a special place. So it's forever like such a pleasure to just be reminiscing, as you said, Luke. But not only that, but creating new memories. Like even this podcast in itself is a new memory. And I think it's absolutely incredible that, like, when you travel and you meet random people that maybe you would never come across, like if you were not drunk, sitting there passed out, or I don't know, but super random circumstances, you would never meet these people, but you do, and then you end up becoming long-term friends. I think that's super special. Yeah. And just one last thing, actually there's 5 of us tonight, because this one is Leah. So Leah actually passed away a couple of years ago, but she's forever in our hearts. So yeah, I just wanted to mention that she's actually with us tonight.
Absolutely. And you're still very close with her family and stuff, aren't you? Which I think is really nice, because yeah, we didn't go into it too much, but she was a really big part of that time in Byron as well. So it's nice that we'll all always be able to talk about that, and she'll live through that. So that's nice.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, Luke, I don't know if you want to see us out, mate.
Yeah, I mean, Jack, I don't know if you had anything else you wanted to chuck on the end to that one there. Well, not to, just any last goodbye messages from you.
I mean, apart from the people that are audio only, I guess we did just have a sixth guest because, as you saw in the background awkwardly, we had my mum just walk up and down.
You should have had her on. Was she not in Byron as well? Because I can't remember most things. But no, obviously, very much appreciate it. It was it was a great chat. For everybody out there listening, obviously, as you know, we'll always put the links to people's socials on there. We'll put Jack's art page on there as well. But just, also please like, share, subscribe, do all of these things that people do apparently. But yeah, it's just nice, and we're looking forward to bringing you the second season. So thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for listening, everybody. Guys, it was so nice to speak to you again.
And you, bud.
Dankeschön.